Welcome to the General's Gentleman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Dawn of War 3 video. We are still rocking out in the beta, so we don't quite have replays yet, unfortunately.
Does suck a little bit, but we have found a way around it, as we do. It's our thing. This will actually be the Machinu first-person view footage of a game he played. Was this during the tournament, one of your tournament games?
This was actually my first opponent in the ESL round tournament. He was a very good player, despite it being the first round we played. So there was an ESL tournament, there wasn't any cash prizes or anything. It was just kind of a fun event that people wanted to run to showcase some DAO 3 gameplay, and I enjoyed it. I got into... Oh, I probably shouldn't spoil it, but... well. I won't finish that sentence. Yeah, so I'm Space Marines. I can't check my opponent's name, I forget it, but he's playing Eldar, as you'll soon see for yourself. There we go.
Found some Dire Avengers. It's a pretty good indication that he is Eldar. Space Marines is your jam, is it not, Machine? You're loving the Spaceys?
Yeah, I like Space Marines. I played them mainly in DAO 2 as well. I think they're fun both visually and gameplay wise. I just like Space Marines, and also everyone's all playing Eldar, so it's nice not to play the OP faction. And I think we can safely say that Eldar are the OP faction, at least in the beta. It's a little bit unfortunate because we actually do have access to the full game as of Tuesday, but we don't have any replays because there wasn't anyone to play with. And here we go, dropping down the Space Marines in the banner. Now that was actually a little bit preemptive because he actually disengaged. Yeah. He had a webway gate, so he just ran away from it.
A fair move. He probably should have waited to bot banner until to see whether he dropped the if he engaged the drop pod or not, because they can see the reticle for the drop pod as it comes in. You probably should have waited a little bit, but it's all good. And so, love the forward harassment. You were looking for some gens, I take it, to go for some bashing early on.
Yeah, I always love doing that because often if you just play so aggressively in the early game, I find often your opponent just isn't ready for it, and then you can just snipe a gen or two as soon as the game starts. Sometimes on the left side you can do it a bit more easily, but on the right side it's a bit safer because of that you're not quite committed so much to go for that harassment.
I kind of wish Fleet of Foot didn't work in combat.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. It is quite frustrating being able to just so easily disengage, but already got the Devastators on the field, so the Dire Avengers have to be a little bit more careful now. They can't just quite do their constant hit and run, which is generally how you want to play with the Dire Avengers because they have the recharging shields. They have a very high DPS, but it's quite bursty because they overheat their weapons.
So run in, engage, wait for the overheat, and then back off again. So
yeah.
First down the Space Marines, try and look for model drops. Even burning through a bit of health can work. Squads do take quite a long time to heal. If they do drop health, there's not a lot that they drop once you're fully reinforced, but it's enough to make a difference.
Yeah, admittedly, I don't know how the mechanic actually works.
Not sure either.
I think from experience, I think how it actually works is the moment that you can drop a squad that you will drop a model.
Yeah.
So say if your squad gets to 80% health, and you have a 5-man squad, you lose a model, and then you lose a second model at 60% health. Like you never have squads that are low on health but are high on model count like you would always get in Dawn of War 2 because the way that the damage was evenly spread, where you had individual models that have their own health values. I think in this, health is shared between the entire squad. Now, the thing is with Eldar though, is because they have the shields, it means that they actually do take damage without dropping models, which in itself is actually a pretty big advantage.
Definitely is. They can take a fair bit of their overall, I guess what you call it, health pool, I suppose, if you're combining both the health and the shields there. And what we've worked out at this point is that shields account for 1.5 times the amount of health on average for Eldar units. So that's how in-depth the General's Gentlemen are with their shoutcasting. We're already trying to get some hardcore details.
Yeah, we labbed it and everything. We're looking through all the units and we're like crunching out the numbers. But the thing is with the shields though, is they actually recharge pretty slowly. And I think they recharge faster around webways.
Yeah.
But you can get in the situations where if you have all of your squads low on shields, you just can't engage because you're going to get focused down so quickly. But anyway, I've got this forward listening post here. Gives me pretty good map control. This is actually perhaps a bit of a blunder there. He got that power generator without having a listening post. And the way that the resources work is the generators themselves are very fragile, as are rangers. As you can see, they're getting bursted by the Devastators, but now there's going to be the kill team Ironborn dropping onto the field, knocking back the Dire Avengers. Will force him to disengage from this one. He has the webway gate, so he can do so.
Quite quick, we will see. Nay going to be coming out here to slow down one of the squads of Dire Avengers. Also going to zone very effectively. It lasts for a fair bit of time, allows Machine to bring some more of his squads onto the field. Devastator's now moving up. We get the Flame upgrade coming down. Very effective in the early game, dealing with these big infantry blobs.
Oh, the Rangers can stealth. Okay. Earlier we were discussing if they can or can't, and obviously they can. To stealth, you need servitors or whatever the worker unit to reveal. And there's actually summoned in his Ranger Ronan, the elite sniper hero unit. So obviously disengaging from that one, especially with my weak elite, the kill team Ironmore.
Ranger's going to be quite nice against these Devastator teams. One of them could actually go down here. Dire Avenger's going to try and chase this one down with the fleet of foot, and they actually find the Ironborn, so the Ironmore snipe.
Ironborn, that's Game of Thrones, right?
That is Game of Thrones, yeah. The Ironmore snipe.
Ironmore.
I've been listening to it on audiobook, thus my confusion. So I find the Ironmore snipe, so that's actually quite important. Your early game is very dependent on keeping those elites alive. They have a huge impact against line units.
Yeah, but actually in doing that, I kept my Devastator alive. And the thing is with the elites is they don't cost anything to re-summon onto the field. However, you do lose a lot of momentum. But as a result, what I can do, I can just kind of camp. The only issue with that is I have that listing post there, which I may actually lose. But by trading my elite for keeping my Devastator alive, which is an expensive squad, it means I won't be suffering as much requisition bleed.
Yeah, probably a pretty good move at this stage of the game. Obviously, the less elite point costs, the less time it takes to resummon, as we see here. Only 100 seconds until that kill team is available once again for a free resummoning. And you're in a pretty good position as well. I mean, double listing posts on your back points makes it quite difficult to harass them without obviously committing a lot of troops. As we see here, Double Devastator is going to be lining up, looking for the snipe onto listing outposts. Will it go down in time though before the Dire Avengers come in? They're going to be coming in from the side. We could see some nades to look for the disruption here.
Okay, the banner's going down as well. It's going to be knocking back the Dire Avengers. It also gives a huge buff to all nearby squads. Dire Avengers going to have to disengage from this one.
Going to run away from this one. Our hero doing a lot of damage. Dire Avengers still going on the flank here. They're looking for wipes. Wipes are incredibly important. This tax squad's quite low. Devastators are quite low. She's going to try and stick around from this one. He's got another squad of tax coming in from the side. These Dire Avengers still have their nades available as well. They don't seem to be using them at this stage. So we're going to be one wipe for the road. There's the nade, knocking back one of the Devastator squads. It's going to now allow the Dire Avengers to close in without being slowed down. That actually be a wipe in return when the Dire Avengers goes down. And the hero also going to be backing away, and see here the machine actually manages to keep just the one squad alive from the looks of things, just the Devastator squad alive.
Yeah, just the devs, but I actually wiped 2 Dire Avengers there, so it pretty much paid itself off. It was a pretty crazy engagement there, and the overheating rifles of the Dire Avengers preventing them from getting those wipes as quickly as they did. So took a lot of damage there from the Devastators, and yeah, overall that engagement I think didn't quite favor anyone in particular.
Quite close. Smart move by you, probably just setting up where you were and forcing the Dire Avengers into an extended engagement where the rifles would go on cooldown. So
yeah, there was no way I could disengage from that, and also because of the positioning of them, they were put in a position where they were actually outranging the Dire Avengers for a while. So there was a lot of time where they weren't actually firing against the Devastators. And now the kill team is available for call-in. So, yeah, it could have gone a lot worse. I actually thought I was going to lose all of my squads there, going a little bit too deep. But yeah, the banner made a huge difference. The banner is such an incredible bonus. Not only the buff, but again, the shield that it gives, the knockback that it gives. It's pretty much, you win this engagement, but it has a pretty long cooldown. Especially if you combo that with things like the drop pods, you can get a good jump on your opponent if they try and commit to an engage.
Now, run me by this again. Do you need an elite point generator on that central point to gain additional elite point income, or just by having the point does it change?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I honestly
really
don't. I'm
sure.
assuming no, and the reason why I say, this is a little bit cringe on my part here. Devastator's getting caught out by the grenade and just focused down very quickly, but the generator goes down. And the thing is with the generator, well, never mind that. Kill team going in. I also have the Librarian available as well.
Should be in a pretty good spot for the knockback. We actually do see it onto 2 dire Avenger squads. We're going to allow these squads to get out of there, and we're going to go for a Librarian as well. No, that's going to be the nade. Coming in for the kill team, going to be backing away.
I don't know why I didn't use the Librarian there.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I thought you were going to use it.
So the thing is with the kill team is one of their doctrines that you get, because you have doctrines which are like the equivalent of bulletins in Company of Heroes 2. There's 3 of them, which is called your army doctrines, which are just global things. And then there are what's called the elite doctrines, which you can only get them if you have that elite equipped. One of the doctrines that the kill team can get, and has it by default, is that you can summon elites around the kill team, where normally you can only summon elites near your base or your listening posts. The other part of that bulletin is that, or the doctrine, is that the kill team actually is a drop pod, which has a knockback and a buff, where without that doctrine, he would summon like other units. But anyway, so a lot of times what happens is if you have an engagement kind of away from the base, you can summon your kill team first and then summon your elites around that. Looking at this VOD, I thought I was going to do that, but I didn't call the Librarian for some reason.
I see what you're going for. You got a gen harass from 2 sides, aren't you, my friend?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The land speeders are out on the field, extremely mobile. They are gliders. They can zoom along. They're actually going to get caught out by a couple of Vipers trying to chase you down.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. I went for the gen harass just as he was going for the gen harass.
Yeah.
Now, the land speeders are pretty overpowered. Definitely better than the Vipers, but not enough to get a 2v1 there. Also because the land speeder doesn't have any upgrades at the moment. You get a multi-melter, which are just coming out now, but I didn't have that in time, so I couldn't quite fight that. Well, he's actually summoning an elite here. That's probably his Farseer. He's already used his Ranger Ronan. I'm splitting up the Space Marines preemptively.
Nice.
Librarian being called in now as well. As long as you keep moving your squads around, he can't get that massive AoE damage off like that. The spear thing, but drop pod 2 as well. This Farseer is getting absolutely collapsed upon.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage here. Spear's already been used, or at least the knockback portion of it has been. Was that a smite you used, or? Yeah,
it's not actually called smite.
Okay.
Oh man, lose that attack spot. Yeah, it was. It didn't quite hit that well. He got some damage off, but not a lot, because he kind of dodged it.
So multi-mel has been upgraded onto this land speeder. They're going to deal with the Vipers a little bit more easily. However, this is an excellent move by Machino's opponent, harassing one of the shield gens before we can see any response. Also, if you get infantry squads inside of those shield gens, you can kind of capture them. You get the shields. Those Vipers won't be able to enter the zone or do serious damage to the shield generator. Unfortunately, we didn't see that.
Now the thing is with the shield generator, I didn't actually realize this when I first started playing, is when you kill those, they actually give you a lot of money. Oh man, I didn't finish that building, good mistake. But anyway, there's a land speeder, has the multi-melter, so very, very powerful against these Vipers, and again, the land speeder's actually pretty OP.
Yep.
But yeah, gonna get some damage on my generators, which is quite unfortunate.
Yeah, a decent amount of those speeders. We don't see Sheen investing too much power. He's filling up a few resources. What do you think you're gonna go for? I'm thinking you might go for some more land speeders. I'm gonna say that. This is as a random guess.
I like to refer to them as balanced speeders.
Balanced speeders, of course. Yeah.
Basically, there's a few things that aren't quite that balanced in beta, and there's a lot of things that aren't balanced for Eldar, but I think the land speeder can be kind of the redeeming factor here. So this generator harassment it was actually a lot, and it's a bit of a misplay on my opponent's part. He keeps building these generators on the middle points without having them fortified. And the thing is with the generators, is every time you build a generator, it actually increases the price of the next one. So when you kill a generator, not only are you obviously depriving them the cost of getting that income and wasting their investment, but it means the next generator they build, it costs even more. So with my generators that I lost, it's not actually going to be that expensive to replace, because I've only lost 3. That's it in total, but he's lost probably 5 or 6 at this stage. And so the longer it drags out, and the more generators that I keep sniping, the more it actually costs. So you have to be very careful with those middle points. You want to make sure you can hold them.
Machine playing with the high ground here, of course. High ground vision, very similar mechanic to as it plays out in StarCraft 2. Notice to these Vipers. It's a bunch of regular damage. I actually get the Librarian forcing them off here.
So using the upgrade on the kill team, he gets a missile launcher, so they can do actually some good damage versus those Vipers. Can't really retreat there though with the low health attack squad, but I think that was one Viper that went down. The missile launcher doing some good work, and here come the land speeders with their multi-melter upgrade. The Vipers have to back away from that one. That's the Farseer. They're getting focused down, and the land speeders are just wrecking face. That was kind of a weird engagement there for him.
See the last chance coming out there for the Farseer. Sheen actually playing this quite nicely. He's going to trap the Farseer inside with the Librarian. Will actually get sniped down. It's going to prevent the Farseer from escaping. We see Vipers taking a fair bit of damage as well. Landspeeders, 2 of them with the multi-melters sniping down several of the Vipers. They're all going down. Let's have a Falcon grav tank here. Will take a lot of damage also from these multi-melters, which you're seeing there. It does go down. There's the Farseer and the Ronin hero. Ronin hero's down. Farseer's probably going to go down here as well. A very nice engagement with the machine.
Yeah, he had a lot of problem with his focus firing. He was actually going for my attack marines rather than going for my land speeders. And also, the thing is with that Librarian ability where he creates this wall around him, that blocks damage entirely coming in. And you actually can still target units inside of that circle, it just does no damage. So for a while there, if you looked at it, he was actually focusing the Librarian, because it had no health left, he was about to die, but it wasn't taking any damage. And while he was focusing the Librarian and doing no damage because of that ability, the land speeders were just pew-pewing and killing all his stuff. So if he retargeted the land speeders, if he had better focus firing, could do a lot better there.
Have you been using reverse move on those land speeders? Or yeah,
it's R-click like Ko. I'm so glad it has reverse move. Not having reverse move in DAO 2 was very, very clunky. It's pretty important for land speeders because they can fire while moving and they're very fast, like that. Yeah, it's a very, very handy mechanic to have.
No, pretty good position right now. Shooting a good spot. See the listening outpost there, going to prevent any harassment from the attack marines. The distinct lack of Vipers on the field is going to be a bit of an issue for our Eldar player. Won't be able to go for such easy gen harassment or sniping of those listening posts without the... you really do need the... what word am I looking for here? Machine.
Shadow Spectres?
No. You need a like having enough of them to do a lot of
critical
impacts.
mass.
Critical mass is exactly what I'm looking for. Critical mass is going to be much harder to build up as well now. Double land speeder with the multi-melters on. Definitely see a transition away from those Vipers and probably the Falcons as well and something else.
So what I was going to say is that given the land speeders, and especially because they're multi-melter upgrades, he should get the Shadow Spectres. The Shadow Spectres are the anti-vehicle infantry. They're like the equivalent of the Devastator las cannons. Those are the anti-vehicle infantry, and those actually do make pretty short work of the land speeders. The thing is though, is land speeders are just so mobile, so you can just fly away from them. But if you have one defensively on your generators, your land speeders can't really fight that unless you have like 3 or 4 of them. Or you have them in a battle and it's pretty useful. Like the Devastators here, you can see will have some nice damage versus the Falcon, especially with a flank there from the land speeder.
Getting some pretty serious damage off. You can still see another shot coming out from the kill team, I believe. Still upgraded currently with the rocket launcher. Going to try and chase that one down, but speeders are quite fast. Sense another elite getting called in here.
Yeah, that's Gabriel Angelos, the Force Commander. They're comboed up with that grenade for the stun. Means the Rangers go down to the front flipping Terminator armor, and if the Force Commander gets into your backline, he just does so much disruption. Still able to disengage though because of the webway gates, giving that speed buff to those slow Eldar infantry, but the Falcon's going to be tied up by the Force Commander while the Land Speeder goes in and tries to get the killing blow here. But there's actually multiple Dark Reapers. Dark Reapers do true damage, so they're actually not too bad against the vehicles, against at least the Land Speeders, which are quite fragile.
Still not a bad investment, not a bad trade in terms of power investment here. One of those Land Speeders going down in exchange for the Falcon. Gabriel Angelos also surviving the engagement. Librarian ready to be called in again.
Yeah, those Falcons aren't cheap. I mean, the Land Speeders, I think it's like 175 power, and then you pay 50 for the melted melter. So they're actually not cheap as well when you get the upgrade, but they're still just so cost efficient. What I'm also doing as well, if you keep a track of my clicks, is I'm actually upgrading my vehicle damage and health. Your armor, you can upgrade either infantry or vehicles, and there's a couple other things there too. So with the infantry upgrades, they cost power. The vehicle upgrades only cost requisition. And I didn't even have any infantry upgrades, because at this state in the game, I'm just not really using that infantry that much, apart from a handful of Devastators. So I'm actually speccing completely into my land speeders. I got level 2 damage, I think level 1 armor as well. Level 3 is locked behind tier 3. But my plan in this game is to just try and max out my land speeders, try and really rely upon them to inflict damage upon my opponent's economy by flying around the map. Something that all the air units can do very well because they fly over elevation. And also, if you catch units out of position, you can just burst them down rather quickly.
Yeah, mobility is absolutely crazy. No generators here for Machine to harass. Obviously, quite expensive to replace at this stage in the game. Gonna find the Sky Portal. Of course, forward base is not really that expensive. Little bit of requisition. It varies a bit, around 200 though, which is not expensive at all for the building. So it's not amazing sniping one of those down, but it does delay production. As you see here, we're also going to have the shield generator taking a fair bit of damage.
Well, the Sky Portal is actually the vehicle building.
Oh, it is actually. Yeah,
so actually,
right,
that is pretty punishing because it's like 100 power or something.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Same with the Machine Cult, which is not my cult. No, it is the War Factory equivalent for the Spaceman. Oh, that's the Wraith Lord. Oh, he can smack about a land speeder. He cares not for your speeding land speeders, but I can get kited around pretty easily. So it's going to be shield generator for shield generator. I think maybe mine will go down in a bit. Yeah,
I have to say I'm not really up to speed when it comes to our Eldar buildings yet. I'll get there eventually. Eldar, my least played faction during our time in the beta.
Well, you got to pace yourself. You can't try and learn everything at one go.
Yeah, I know.
It
makes it quite difficult. So, yeah. As shoutcasters, like, we feel like we should know everything, but it does take a bit of time before we get there. So.
But you're certainly right about just regular barracks. Like your tier 1 barracks cost you 200 requisition, and that's it. So losing those barracks isn't a big deal, but stopping this vehicle base is pretty punishing. And I think it was actually quite a fragile building, more so than most buildings. But anyway, Force Commander trying to save the Ironborn here. Iron More. Yeah, Iron More. Okay, this is going to be a nasty librarian pew-pew thing that we'll just call smite because it's easier.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't look that impressive, but it's because there's the shields on the Eldar, so it actually did a lot of damage, and while the health bar is full, they will get focused down incredibly quickly. Landing that ability on so many squads is devastating.
Pretty crazy. Pass is going to be going down here as well. There's actually another Falcon.
He's doing it again. He's focusing the librarian, I think.
Inside that zone.
Yeah, and it's just not doing it. He will now because it's dead, but he really should be focusing these land speeders. And even the las cannon on the Devastators, he's just losing. But Wraith Lord, bit of a nasty flank here. I have to make sure I keep kiting away from that. Yeah,
I don't want to take any damage. There's the Falcon going down as well. Remember, all this engagement is inside Banner, which is not. Oh, that was close. He's got a big swinging sword, Machine. You best be careful where you're flying.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize that. The banner actually gave a shield buff. Oh man, the stealth brush is magically hiding the Wraith Lord, who is 50 times taller than what that is.
Banner, of course, getting stronger, more abilities, I suppose you could say, the higher your teching goes.
Okay, the Wraith Lord, very, very low. I think he went down. Yeah, he went down there.
Did end up going down to the Death Storm, so...
But those...
like a drop pod, but with lots of Gatling guns on the side.
Oh, yeah, yeah, the assault cannons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really strong ability. It's a drop pod. It doesn't actually contain any units. It just contains 6 assault cannons, pointing in all directions. And it only lasts for a limited duration, but it's very, very strong.
Extremely powerful. Quite tanky as well, difficult to take out. Landspeeder, critical mass getting up there now. We're up to 4.
I think those Falcons also were pretty bad. The thing is with the Falcons, you actually can reinforce around them, and they also transport infantry as well. Yep. So I haven't used them much, but I think they're not supposed to be a combat unit per se. But I'm just kind of thinking of, you could fly the Falcon over to your opponent's generator line and just drop off 2 Banshees. snipe with the generators and then just fly away again. There's no transport for Space Marines, whereas Orcs have a war truck which can transport. I think you can also reinforce from that too.
Yeah, you can from the truck. Yeah, it's weird that there's no Rhino in the game, so...
I guess you don't need it because you have drop pods though.
Rhino Elite? Anyone?
Oh,
no?
God. Yeah. Most exciting elite. You can reinforce squads. Wow.
Wow, cool, wow.
Oh, and
yeah, drop pods will make sense, so yeah. Very strong.
There is also one of the doctrines where you can reinforce from your listening post. But honestly, it doesn't matter because you pay 200 requisition, you get a forward barracks you can reinforce from. So having forward reinforce is so valuable in Dawn of War 2 or in Company of Heroes, but in Dow 3 I don't think forward reinforce from a vehicle is very good because again you have forward reinforce from buildings.
Plasma guns, gonna give these Space Marines some pretty crazy DPS. They will now have overheat as well on those plasma guns, so gotta keep an eye on that stat. Takes a little bit of babysitting, but not quite so much as the Dire Avengers cooldowns on the rifles. Doesn't quite overheat that quickly.
Yeah, okay, well, Eldar getting just murdered here. I don't know why he's actually fighting this.
Kill Team Landspeeder.
Yeah. The Falcon doesn't really seem that good. I don't know.
I believe he's just using it incorrectly. It really
probably.
It's not a combat unit. It is about that reinforce.
Okay, so with the Sniper Ronan, he has an ability where it's like a skill shot, and if it makes contact with a vehicle, it actually stuns it. So landing that can be quite deadly there. He landed it there, but there was no follow-up. There's actually a few things that can stun vehicles. Like, I think there's one of the doctrines, which I actually have now, is your flamers on your attack marines immobilize vehicles. Yeah, but it's kind of hard to get attack squad within range of a vehicle. I guess it would probably work against walkers though. You could stun a immobilize a dreadnought. But yeah, there's a few things like that where they're really, really good against vehicles. And with that sniper round, it's actually kind of bad versus infantry. It goes through infantry.
Yeah, and it also goes through shield bubbles. So.
Yeah, but...
And it's map range as well.
Yeah, it's map range. But the damage is actually just tiny.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
It doesn't do anything if it hits you.
It's decent against Devastator teams and things like that as kind of a way to poke, but I'd say the idea behind it is definitely in terms of the... dude, just take out his Bone Singer with the Servitor. Do it. The 1 DPS Servitor.
Yeah, it's the battle takes like 5 minutes for them to kill each other. So what I was doing there, I wanted to scout out with my worker, but workers are so cheap that if you lose them, it doesn't actually matter. Whereas you don't want to throw your units away by face checking. Yeah, that was a stun there.
Nice stun. Yeah.
It doesn't. Oh, there's another one too. Jeez. Yeah, no follow up, so it doesn't really matter.
Really surprised that we haven't seen any squads of Shadow Spectres this game.
Yeah.
They would be ideal in this scenario. They have crazy good range. They also have the ability to float their way over terrain blockers. So,
yeah, so they can kind of follow the land speeders. They're obviously a lot slower, but that's actually a big deal. Where Devastator is very slow, very immobile. I think the Shadow Sectors are still slow, but yeah, the elevation thing's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Storm coming in. It's really decent damage off here.
Yep, summoning all of the elites around the Iron Maw. And we're going to see the stun grenades. The stun grenade. And you combo that with the Librarian. There's actually a lot of disruption there. The blind, there we go.
There's the blind, nice.
It's a lot of, and then you have the Force Banner 2. They can knock about him. So going in for the smite. A very nasty line set up there. It's a lot of damage down. Without those shields, those units are just shredded so quickly.
Pretty brutal. We see all of these Dire Avengers going to be going down. No banner needed in this case for the machine. There are very few squads left. Fast here, still alive, coming in from the backside of things, but we're not getting a lot done. I believe one squad of Wraith Guard there as well.
Now, I did lose every single squad I ever had.
Yeah.
They're all gone. All I have is elites and land speeders. But that's not really a big deal. I mean, we're in escalation phase 3. You've got to expect that to happen. Dawn of War 3, it's a bit different. You can't quite look at it through the lens of Company of Heroes. Yeah, you lose 5 squads, but like it doesn't really matter that much because you don't have veterans see. Oh, I guess it is punishing there because I lost my plasma guns, and those are expensive. Yeah. But for the most part, you get very high income as the game progresses. Armies are big; they're pretty quick to replace. It's a different dynamic, and the main thing for me, I kept my land speeders alive, and those are very valuable. They have the upgrades. I can use them to harass my opponent. I got all my elites, which you don't want to lose, especially in the late game, because they have a long cooldown, a long recharge time to rebuild them.
I'd certainly say your unit preservation late game definitely depends a lot on power and less on requisition. Obviously, you know, the income rates are increasing as it goes up, but the later on in the game you get, the more power-intensive units tend to make up a large part of your composition, as we see here with the land speeders for the machine.
Yep, escalation phase 4. So every time the phases escalate, the resource income increases. A few other things as well, but that's the main thing, is the resource income. So now you'll see that I'm just trying to frantically buy as many squads as I can. And the thing is, with the late game, is because the income is constantly, because it increases up to escalation 4, and then also because when you tech up, you can upgrade your listing posts individually. It means that harassing your opponent is even more valuable, because then you are, you're lowering their income by a larger amount. So that big push there, where I took out his point in the bottom right corner, the harassment becomes just ever so important. And now I'm going to keep trying to do that with my land speeders, preventing him from getting any more points on the map. Just want to keep moving around so I don't get caught by another one of those stun rounds. You can also cancel a in-progress generator, which he didn't do there.
I definitely do want to do that to get a refund.
I don't know if it's a full refund, but it's certainly some refund.
It is some, so.
Because when you're building a listening post, I believe it's a 50% refund. It may be the same for generators.
So you're upgrading the points income as well. Not only are you upgrading via phases, you're also upgrading the points themselves. So you can imagine how crazy the income gets.
Yeah, I also upgrading my land speeders to their level 3 damage. So the reason why I teched up is I didn't really want to build predators, because, you know, the predators are okay, but land speeders are better. But I wanted to get my economy upgrades again, because it's one upgrade per tech level. And also I wanted to get my upgraded land speeders again. I think it's 45% damage, level 3. It's 15% per upgrade. And yeah, Predators are a bit cheaper when it comes to the requisition relative to land speeders.
So on the side of our Eldar player, we see a lot of Wraithguard coming out. Currently 2 squads. They are quite power intensive as well, but excellent DPS. A little bit slow though, and we see here Machine abusing that lack of mobility by assaulting the bottom listing post when they were seen over the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, throughout this game I've been trying to do a two-pronged attack with my infantry in the corner, attack with my land speeders on the other side.
Spear coming out. Seems to get in a very good position. Parsley doesn't blow anything up. There we go.
Those are the Wraithguard. Those things are crazy good. Those would be very good at defending against land speeders. They're pretty expensive though.
Yeah, they are. Very heavy power investment.
And they're countered pretty hardcore by melee because they're very slow. Alright, so this is going to be a big engagement here, throwing down 2 of those Deathstorm turrets.
Banner's going to come down here as well. We do have the Plasma Storm, the Orbital Bombardment available here. Machine wants to see if he throws that one down. I'm not sure if the Eldritch Storm is available. It's certainly possible. Pretty big engagement though.
Yeah.
Last squad of these Wraithguard could potentially go down. We also see point harassment coming in at the same time.
Level 3 tech unlocks Orbital Strike. Another reason why teching up is good. But looks like Devastator's getting focused there by there's Rangers, there's some Wraithguard there
over
too.
there as well. Yeah.
He's in the shield bubble, so I can't actually damage him there. I don't have the flamers on my my Iron Maw.
It's one of these shield generators. Looks like it's going to go down. There's 2 shield generators down. A bit more resources in the bank here. Machine hopefully he's going to be spending that. He's going for a few more upgrades. Upgrades, of course, getting more and more costly as the game progresses, as you upgrade more and more.
Trying to keep my land speeders alive, and there drops a Dreadnought on top of those Wraithguard, and with the Force Commander there as well. Try and disengage because they do have, again, the speed buff, the Fleet of Foot from the Webway gates, but the disruption there from the Force Commander knocking them about. And meanwhile the land speeders are just taking out the base. That's the Infinity Portal, that's the structure that actually builds the Wraithguard, so that's quite valuable to snipe.
Yeah, definitely is nice going down. Of course, building up stacks as well of the recall for the Wraithguard the opportunity to recall back to the Infinity Portal. Of course, those soul charges won't be available now, so obviously just a regular kiting coming out.
Probably should have upgraded one of my attack squads with a flamer just to clear that bubble cover out. Didn't quite think about it at the time. Because with the bubble cover, there's certain units that flush them out. So generally melee units, like Assault Marines will, for example. I don't have the barracks for the Assault Marines though, or you have the flamer. Either of those would flush it out, but most units you just can't attack it.
We're going to be seeing another CC chain coming down. Smoke Lord, there we go. Jumping in, it's going to be a stun. Same time the land speeders are going to be coming in. Should fall here.
Yeah, actually stunned my Dreadnought there. Dreadnought goes down, but the land speeders can chase the Wraith Lord on retreat. So the Rangers, oh, the Wraith Lord, never mind.
Passes down as well. There we go. There's a snipe. Rangers are firing as well. This could be suicide for the land speeders, but they actually do find the snipe.
Worth. So with the Wraith Guard, you actually can time out those things, their attacks.
The shots, yeah.
That's the second time there, that if you keep moving backwards, they eventually dissipate.
Understood.
So things have calmed down now.
They certainly have. We see some GGs in the chat.
Yeah, and I'm telling him to get Shadow Spectres.
Shadow Spectres are good.
So yeah, that was
much more accessible than the Wraith Guard. So
yeah, definitely. And they're quite. I think they're like 430 or something, where the Wraith Guard are probably like 400, 180. They're kind of like the equivalent of knobs.
400,
like,
even 200 or something. I believe they're over 200 power.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're not cheap.
Yeah, you also get the Wraith Blades, which are like the melee equivalent of the Wraith Guard, and those are incredibly valuable too. Whoops, I stopped the video. That's fine. And yeah, so GG. I think it was a pretty fun game. It was pretty action packed.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was probably the most action packed 1v1 I've seen so far.
Yeah, it's something that team games don't offer much, and even low level games don't offer much, because those games are very slow and very passive and very you're kind of just sitting around waiting, building up an army. But from what I've played at a high level in this tournament, which is really, the only kind of high level stuff I've played, because in the beta most people were just noobs, there actually were some very action packed games. I'm actually enjoying the 1v1 mode of Dawn of War 3, despite the flaws and my criticism. I think all of those stand true. The elites, I think, are incredibly frustrating. The escalation system, I don't like. I mean, we did a full impressions video on it. We have a lot of issues with it, but I think it's a fun game. I'm enjoying the 1v1 scene, and I think that tournament overall was a great experience. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Now the video is over. How did you go in the tournament?
I went to quarterfinals. Yeah. And that was pretty good, because there was like 70 people that entered, and the quarterfinal game, it was 1-2, so I actually I took a map off of him. There was a few things that I didn't know were going to happen. I didn't have much experience playing versus good players, because again, everyone in the beta were just noobs. Yeah. So there was like, versing good players was like, whoa, this is really different. So yeah, we'll do more Dawn of War 3 content. I like the game. I just think it didn't quite, it could be a lot better, we'll say. But also, next video hopefully will be a replay of the full game, because the full game will be out on Thursday, the 27th of April, which may or may not be before this video is actually posted. I'll try and get this video out before then, but we'll see. And
if it is, I will be probably smashing out some streaming.
We're streaming this weekend again.
So yeah, we'll be nice and busy with Dawn of War 3 content, so do come and check us out.
Yeah, all right. See you guys.
Thank you.